The climate crisis dominates the headlines in the media today.
We are constantly being fed the narrative that we are failing in the fight against climate change and that the UN's Sustainable Development Goals are unlikely to be achieved by 2030.
We are Nick and Talya.
And in collaboration with Startup Lounge Africa, we are embarking on a mission to tell the positive stories of sustainable innovation across the world.
By meeting some of the most innovative entrepreneurs in the sustainability space,
who are implementing solutions that their countries, regions, and our planet require to thrive.
And most importantly, we want to show that if we get behind and scale up these innovations, we can, in fact, achieve the UN's SDGs.
This is our sustainable world. We continue our journey in Ethiopia, exploring the country's most valuable crop. In this episode, we meet a family-run business who have found a way to keep Ethiopia's coffee supply chain circular by turning coffee waste into fibre, flour and oils. We speak with some of the sector's experts from across the globe to explain to us just how big this problem is and how COFFEE RESURRECT's innovation will have a huge impact.
A lot of it is just, thrown away as waste.
The team at COFFEE RESURRECT are determined to eliminate waste for the drink that keeps students studying, economies running, and yummy mummies chatting. Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee, first discovered by the goat herder Kaldi in 800 AD. It was when Kaldi was out tending to his flock that he noticed his goats become more energetic after eating the coffee cherry. So he tried some for himself, and later he felt a rush of energy. When he took the coffee cherries back to his community and told them about his experience, the monks proclaimed that this was the work of the devil and threw the coffee cherries into the fire. After a few minutes, the monks started to smell a heavenly aroma and they realised they'd made a mistake. So they quickly raked the cherries out of the fire and stored them in a jug of hot water to preserve them. Later that night, the monks drank this new concoction and they found that it helped keep them awake during their nightly prayers. And so the story of coffee began. Today, around 9.5 billion kilograms of coffee are produced globally each year, the equivalent to $31 billion. Coffee is grown in more than 50 developing countries across Africa, Asia and Latin America, making it a source of income for about 25 million farmers worldwide, with 2.2 million of those smallholder coffee farmers based here in Ethiopia.
Coffee is the world second highest commodity following petroleum. In the second highest beverage following water. 2.2 billion cup is consumed per day, which led to have a cumulative waste of spent coffee ground, which is nearly 60 metric tons.
However, recent estimates suggest that global coffee production generates more than 20 million tonnes of waste each year. That's the same as 3.3 million elephants or 2,000 Eiffel Towers. I spoke to Raphael Schranz, a circular economy expert, who explained just how much waste the coffee industry is generating.
I mean, the coffee industry or the coffee production system is basically a pretty big waste stream. So we're currently looking at, I think it's globally about over 24 million tons basically, and a lot of these reverse logistics systems or waste management systems are basically lacking in a lot of countries all around the globe, right? And so what basically happens is when these coffee grounds are used or when this coffee is being served at restaurants, for example, that all of that waste normally gets mixed together with other residual waste streams, and then basically these waste streams land up in landfill.
But what can be done about the waste in the coffee industry? That's where COFFEE RESURRECT comes in. They give coffee waste a second chance at life through their innovative solutions that recover some of the waste and bioengineer it into new, edible, usable products.
So COFFEE RESURRECT is the first biotechnology company here in Africa and the first biorefinery here in Ethiopia as well, working on creating coffee waste, for example, from spent coffee ground, creating coffee oil, coffee flour and fibers, which are a derivative product.
Mainly the process has 3 steps. The first thing is collecting the coffee waste from different sources, for example, from cafeterias, from airports, and then after collecting, we take it to our store and then we make it dry in order to remove moisture out of it, and then we extract the oil by using supercritical carbon dioxide method to get the oil.
We're going to tackle the environmental challenges, and we fight against food insecurity, malnutrition, and mitigating health-related issues which is happening around the globe these days. And more importantly, by recovering this coffee wastes and back to economic life cycle, we are using the resources, we are promoting and establishing responsible consumption of resource.
COFFEE RESURRECT have worked hard to develop relationships with key players across Ethiopia's coffee supply chain to ensure they collect as much of the country's coffee waste as possible. The team took us to see the waste that arises during the coffee processing stage and then on to some of Addis Ababa's most iconic cafes where they collect the spent coffee grounds from. But COFFEE RESURRECT are not just about solving the global coffee waste problem. Malnutrition is on the rise, and COFFEE RESURRECT are developing a new source of nutrition through their coffee flour.
So the patterns that we're seeing at the moment is that malnutrition globally is actually increasing, and that's both malnutrition in terms of undernutrition, people not being able to eat sufficient food, and especially not sufficiently nutritious food. And there's also malnutrition in terms of people who are actually obese, so they get enough food, calories, but it's not necessarily sufficiently nutritious. What I understood from COFFEE RESURRECT is that they are the first in Ethiopia, maybe even in Africa, to use very efficient ways to extract products from waste coffee, to turn them into nutritional products, but also products for the beauty industry. And in that sense, they are very innovative.
The world right now used just the 1% of the coffee from the coffee. You ground it, you drink it. After drinking it, there is a lot of leftovers. The leftovers are full of compounds, elements.
And there is micronutrient in it. It's nutrient dense. And again, it have high value of antioxidant property.
With different applications for the food as well, for the personal care and for the cosmetics as well.
After processing the spin ground to the initial coffee oil, again there is of course a waste. That waste is going to be again reprocessed for a coffee flour and then coffee fiber. So we are turning, we are helping this golden cow, okay, this golden coffee, a second chance of life.
Coffee has become an integral part of our daily lives, and it has found a significant place in popular culture as well. The perception of coffee has evolved over time, and today it is widely regarded as a symbol of energy, productivity, and creativity. The cultural significance of coffee is not just limited to the Western world, but it has also found its place in other cultures as well. In many parts of the world, coffee is a part of the social fabric, where people come together to share a cup of coffee and connect with each other. In Ethiopia, coffee represents so much more than just a drink. It is embedded in the culture. This is best experienced during Ethiopia's famous coffee ceremonies, where coffee is freshly prepared to enjoy with relatives, neighbours and guests. As well as roasting the beans over hot coals, incense is burned, and snacks such as fresh bread and popcorn are provided, with the popcorn even being thrown at guests as a sign of celebration. This gives the coffee drinking process much more of a ritualistic feeling and really cements coffee's importance in Ethiopian culture. But Coffee Resurrect are not only using coffee waste to make nutritious food products, they're also using the byproduct from that process to make coffee oils for the beauty industry as well.
In the beauty industry, the major thing which everyone is looking at is moving towards circularity. It's about closing material loops and having zero waste systems. We do a Sustainable Beauty Awards. We've been doing this for about 12 years. And what we do in these awards is we recognize innovation and we recognize operators which are doing something special or pushing the sustainability agenda in the cosmetics industry. And Coffee Resurrect, they were runner-up for the Sustainable Ingredient Award in 2022. We thought what they were doing is very innovative. They're using biotechnology to produce these new ingredients from coffee waste. For an African company, for them to be number 2 worldwide for sustainable ingredient, that was quite a big achievement.
Since winning that award in 2022, Coffee Resurrect have gone from strength to strength. And last year, they won the Green Tech Award at the African Startup Awards, earning them a place on the global stage in Copenhagen in 2024. But with all this success already, what do the experts think lies ahead for Coffee Resurrect?
I'm a stubborn optimist.
This is, from my perspective, why it has such a great impact, and why I'm actually supporting Coffee Resurrect, why I'm working with them on an ongoing basis.
I truly believe in humanity's resilience and our capacity to come up with solutions for everything. And I think over the millions of years that we have been on this planet, we've demonstrated that over and over again. So I am optimistic in that sense.
The way that they're upcycling these coffee grounds and making them into a cosmetic ingredient is quite innovative.
Now, of course, when we're dealing with these biological flows, the problems that are associated with this, putting them in landfill, is of course it creates a lot of emissions, right? So not only CO2, but also methane, which is a pretty bad and pretty potent greenhouse gas.
And I think that's also an area where Coffee Resurrect has tremendous potential in reducing climate change, greenhouse gas emissions, which I think is very underestimated.
Because it really deals with the social, the economic, and also the environmental aspects of sustainability, and they're combining that in form of industrial symbiosis, thereby ticking all the boxes basically.